What if Genesis built a convertible that looked like a $200,000 Grand Tourer, but used electric power instead of a traditional engine? Meet the Genesis X Convertible. And this might be one of the most beautiful ideas Genesis has ever created. 2. Introduction. Genesis has quickly developed from a new luxury brand into a serious competitor in the premium automotive world. But the X Convertible is something completely different. It isn't designed simply to transport 4 people. It's designed to create an emotional experience. The X Convertible is the third member of Genesis X concept family, following the X Concept and X Speedium coupe. It represents the brand's athletic elegance design philosophy in an open-top Grand Tourer format. Genesis Autos. And there's something important to understand from the beginning. This isn't a confirmed production 2026 model. It is a concept showing what Genesis believes a future electric luxury convertible could look and feel like. And honestly, that makes it even more interesting. 3. Exterior design. The first thing that makes the X Convertible special is its proportions. Long hood, short front overhang, long wheelbase, and a stretched rear deck. This is the classic Grand Tourer formula, but Genesis gives it a completely modern interpretation. Genesis Autos. The front features Genesis' distinctive 2-line lighting signature. Instead of relying on a traditional grille-heavy design, the front creates a cleaner electric identity. The 2-line theme also connects visually with the rear lighting. From the side, the X Convertible has a smooth parabolic line running through the body. The design avoids the aggressive wedge shape seen on many sports cars. Instead, it creates a long, elegant silhouette. Muscular wheel arches give the car more visual strength, while the long rear section reinforces its grand touring character. At the rear, Genesis uses a dramatic concave elliptical ducktail. The horizontal quad lamps continue the 2-line design theme, while a V-shaped detail references the Genesis emblem. Genesis Autos +1. And then there is the roof. The X Convertible uses a folding hardtop, with transparent roof sections above the front occupants. So even with the roof closed, the cabin can retain an open feeling. Genesis Autos. The concept was presented in crane white, a color inspired by the cultural symbolism of white cranes in Korea. It's a beautiful example of Genesis combining automotive design with Korean cultural references. 4. Interior. Inside, Genesis takes the concept even further. The X Convertible has a 4-seat layout, but this isn't designed like an ordinary 4-seat convertible. The cabin is intentionally driver-focused. The instrument panel wraps around the driver and flows into the center console, creating a cockpit-like environment. Genesis Autos. Genesis describes the experience as an open-air theater. And that idea makes sense. With the roof down, the occupants aren't isolated from the environment. They become part of it. The interior design also draws inspiration from Korean architecture. The main cabin color is called Giwa Navy, referencing the traditional roof tiles used on Korean homes. Genesis combines this with Dancheong orange, inspired by the decorative colors used on traditional Korean architecture. The concept also uses recyclable wool fabric together with leather surfaces. So instead of creating a cabin filled with carbon fiber and dark materials, Genesis chooses something warmer and more sophisticated. Genesis Autos. It feels less like a race car, and more like a luxury lounge that happens to have 4 seats. 5. Technology. The X Convertible is an electric concept, but Genesis doesn't make the technology the only attraction. The design itself is the technology story. The cabin integrates the instrument panel and center console into one flowing structure. The folding hardtop adds another layer of engineering. And the transparent roof sections provide an interesting compromise between a completely open convertible and a closed luxury coupe. However, Genesis has not released production specifications for the infotainment system, smartphone integration, audio system or connectivity features. So there are no official production technology numbers to quote. And that's important because this is still a concept. 6. Engine and performance. Now we come to the biggest question. What's powering it? The answer is electric power. Genesis says the X Convertible shares its architecture and electric powertrain with the X Concept and X Speedium coupe concepts. Genesis Newsroom. But there is currently no confirmed production specification for horsepower, torque, battery capacity, driving range, 0 to 60 mph acceleration, top speed, charging time, towing capacity. So any exact numbers you may see online should not automatically be treated as official. What we can say is that electric propulsion fits the philosophy of this vehicle extremely well. An electric Grand Tourer can deliver smooth acceleration without traditional engine vibration. And with the roof down, that creates a completely different experience. Instead of a loud exhaust dominating the drive, the focus becomes the road, the wind and the environment around you. That's exactly the kind of experience Genesis appears to be targeting. 7. Driving experience. A traditional luxury convertible often focuses on engine sound and mechanical drama. The X Convertible imagines something different. It is about silence, smoothness and atmosphere. Imagine driving along a coastal road with the roof down. The electric powertrain delivers instant response. The cabin remains calm, and the outside world becomes part of the experience. Genesis designed the concept specifically around creating a stronger connection between the occupants and their surroundings. Genesis Autos. But we shouldn't pretend that we already know how a production version would drive. There are no confirmed production suspension settings, steering specifications, brake specifications, curb weight or acceleration figures. If Genesis ever builds it, engineering the structure will be one of the biggest challenges. A convertible needs strong structural rigidity. An EV needs to carry a large battery. And a luxury Grand Tourer needs to remain comfortable. Getting all three characteristics right will be critical. 8. Safety. Because the X Convertible is a concept, there is no complete production safety specification to discuss. Genesis has not published a final production airbag configuration, crash test rating or complete driver assistance package for this vehicle. If it ever reaches production, it would obviously need to meet modern safety regulations and offer advanced driver assistance technology. But until Genesis confirms those systems, it would be irresponsible to present concept features as production equipment. 9. Reliability and ownership. Reliability is impossible to judge at this stage. There is no production X Convertible ownership history. There are also no confirmed production maintenance intervals, warranty terms or long-term battery durability figures. The electric architecture could eventually offer the simplicity of an EV powertrain compared with a traditional combustion Grand Tourer. But a vehicle this sophisticated would still depend heavily on electronics, software, battery technology and electric motors. So long-term reliability will only become clear if Genesis actually puts the car into production. 10. Competitor comparison. This is where the X Convertible becomes really interesting. There are plenty of luxury SUVs. There are plenty of luxury EVs. And there are plenty of powerful convertibles. But an electric luxury 4-seat convertible is a much rarer idea. Genesis could therefore create its own category. Instead of competing purely on horsepower, it could compete on design, craftsmanship, comfort, exclusivity, and emotional appeal. That's potentially the X Convertible's biggest advantage. It doesn't look like Genesis is trying to copy another manufacturer. It is trying to create something with its own identity. 11. Pros and cons. Check mark pros. Extremely distinctive design, fully electric concept, 4-seat configuration, folding hardtop, transparent roof sections, beautiful Grand Tourer proportions, signature 2-line lighting, Korean-inspired interior, driver-focused cockpit, strong luxury character, unique open-air EV concept. Cross-mark cons. Still a concept. Production status remains uncertain. No confirmed horsepower. No confirmed battery capacity. No confirmed range. No confirmed acceleration. No confirmed price. No production reliability history. Final technology specifications are unknown. 12. Buying advice. If you're looking for a convertible that you can buy today, the X Convertible isn't the answer. This is a concept, but if Genesis eventually turns it into a production vehicle, it could become one of the most interesting luxury cars in its segment. It would be aimed at buyers who don't simply want the fastest car. They want something rare, something elegant, something different, and something that combines traditional open-air luxury with the quietness of electric propulsion. For that type of buyer, the X Convertible could be extremely compelling. 13. Final verdict. The Genesis X Convertible is more than a beautiful concept. It is a glimpse into how Genesis imagines the future of luxury. The long hood, the elegant body, The two-line lighting, the four-seat cabin, the Korean-inspired materials, and the folding hardtop all work together to create a very different kind of electric car. But the biggest question remains. Will Genesis actually build it? If the answer is yes, this could become a genuinely special vehicle. Not because it needs the biggest horsepower figure. Not because it needs to be the fastest convertible. But because it already has something many cars spend years trying to develop. A unique identity. The Genesis X Convertible shows that electric luxury doesn't have to be cold or ordinary. It can be emotional, it can be elegant, and it can still make you want to turn around and look at the car after you've parked it. This is Genesis' vision of open-air luxury in the electric era. And if that vision ever reaches production, it could be unforgettable.